So for this project, I am working on a book page, and this is a sort of large print book that I found at a vintage shop. It's about a 9 by 12 inch page, and I love working on book pages because it already gives me the feeling where, I'm not just working on white space. There's already these words here, so I don't feel like I'm going to just mess up. I feel like I can play a little bit more. So I've just put some glue down on my first layer. I like to use a foam brush. It's just a nice way to spread out the glue. And then I have some different collage papers here. I have some bleeding art tissue paper, some Locta paper, and some other book pages. And I've just cut out a few shapes, and now I'm not really thinking too much about how I am going to layer these shapes. I really just want to kind of play with the words that are already there, and I love the effect that happens where you can see the one shape was cut out, so you can see the words through that. And then you have the tissue paper, and that allows the words to show through. So that's a really fun effect to have in your painting, because as you keep adding more and more layers, those things, you're not going to be able to tell how you did it as the artist. As you add more layers, that's kind of the super fun secret of it all, is that you will just be able to see all of the depth in the piece without really being able to figure out how that actually happened. So I'm not really keeping in mind too many colors, and I don't yet have an idea where my face will go. A lot of times I don't like putting papers where my face will be because I don't want to have creases on my face. I like to kind of work on a smooth surface when it comes to my face. However, when I'm using collage like this, I always have the option of adding an extra piece of paper so that I can just add my face right onto that piece of paper. So I'm kind of thinking that's what I'll do in this piece, because I'm having so much fun just playing with the way the bleeding art tissue paper is kind of bleeding onto the other layers. I'm using a little bit of glitter glue, and it's just kind of a fun way to just play and not worry about what you're going to add next. This is one of the exercises I use to loosen up and let go. It's really fun to just use your non-dominant hand when you are playing with pencil or pastel, or really, any kind of coloring or drawing supply. That tissue paper was kind of coming off a little bit, and so I just grabbed it and glued it back down somewhere else. And I just love the effect that happens there, where that initial orange circle on the left is just kind of there. So this is the fun thing about this sort of project, is that there's no right or wrong way, and it really helps me get into the mood of allowing beautiful mistakes to happen. Because if I end up not liking this, I can cover it up with paint and start over again. I can just start on a new book page. Like this black India ink that I just added, it was kind of looking mushy and muddy at first. I thought I made a really big mistake, but now I'm kind of loving the way, once I use my finger on it, it kind of bled out a little bit. And again, this is just my first layer, so I will probably end up covering up a lot of this anyways. And another technique I like to use for these collage backgrounds is using a bamboo brush, or this is a bamboo stick with India ink, and I'm just using the black India ink. And it's a really fun way to add words. And a lot of times when I add words, I don't really like them to be legible. I like the abstractness that you get from just cursive or whatever kind of lettering. So if that's something you have fun with, go ahead and make some loose lines, or if you like to be a little bit more detailed, the India ink is a great way to add some extra dots and some pattern and stuff too. So I'm just going to go keep adding a few more layers and cover up a little bit more of this book page before I think about adding a type of character.
those baby eyes with a kiss like butterflies. I'll be here when you rise. Go on and rest those baby eyes. Rest your baby nose, cute as buttonholes. I'll stay here and hold you close. Go on and rest your baby nose. And even baby Giles, so full of baby smiles, you have to rest a while. It's alright, baby, it's alright, baby. I'll bless those heavy eyes with a kiss of butterflies, and be here when you rise. Go out and rest those baby eyes.
So now I've let all of my inky layers dry. Everything is pretty much dry here. And I am ready to add my character. And I always just use a circle for the head to begin with. And I like using the water-soluble oil pastels to kind of just draw in my circle to give myself an idea of where I want to paste the circle for the head. And I'm using 2 circles of Locta paper here. The reason I'm using 2 circles is because I really like to not just box myself in with one circle that then I always feel like that has to become the face. And so this next circle has a white pattern on it. And I'm doing that so that it's, a little bit lighter on the face, because then when I pencil in my features, I will kind of have a light area to begin with. But I like pasting that on top of the other circle, which is a little bit bigger, so you can still see some of that turquoise color showing through, because that way I feel like it just gives me a space for where her head, like the hair of her head might be. It just gets my mind thinking out of the box, so I don't feel like this circle is her head. Her head must be a circle. When I have a little bit of organicness to the shape, then it kind of allows me to be a little bit more loose and free with the character I paint.